Good evening, all. I'm really hoping that you can hear me okay and that everything's working fine. I hope everyone's all right. Good evening to Jadomo, to Ashra, to Stakaragor, to Jammy Bugger, to Ray Louderbeck. Good to see you all in chat, and I hope you're doing well. So yeah, a good few things to talk about. I'm glad to hear it, Stack. I'm glad I don't have myself on mute again because we all know I'm good at doing that. Um, yeah, a few things to talk about. I wanted to talk a little bit about what I've been doing in Star Citizen this week, because I probably played it more this week than I have done in a very long time. Um, a little bit to talk about in terms of the ship sale that's just happened, and a little bit of negativity within the community, and a lot of negativity from certain people, and just kind of get a feel for where things are, because Spectrum and everything else can be misleading for reasons that we'll come on to. But we'll come back to that in a sec. So yeah, good evening to Avi, to Blamsmith, to Socially Confused, to Can. Good to see you all. Yeah, I know it's a little bit of a provocative title, but once again, kind of lots of stuff going on in and around Spectrum, lots of stuff going in the creator space. So I just thought that maybe it would be a good time to sit and chat about some of what's been going on and just kind of get your feeling. So yeah, controversial badger in the stream. I was hoping you were saying conversational badger in the stream, Can, but that's it. Good evening, Mystery. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. So yeah, a fair few things have released and kind of come about, and we'll have a look at all that in just a sec. A couple of things that are good, a couple of things that are not so good, and we'll get onto it in just a moment. I'm probably going to use a couple of polls for the stream because I want to get a feeling for what you guys think. One of the things that I note when I always go through Spectrum is like Tatooine, it's just a wretched hive of scum and villainy. I posted one idea, I think, so way back when, and just watched people just deliberately, it seemed, misrepresent what had been said, like dive off the deep end, and just like the whole slippery slope mentality. And yeah, left Spectrum alone since then. I think often with Spectrum and with everything else in the community, the vocal element are often the minority. So you tend to find that people are happy with stuff, don't take to Spectrum, don't take to posts, don't take to going and talking that, yeah, I'm content with this. That's not something that you go out and talk about. So I think often people get this impression that there's something weird going in the community, and like it's not actually what's going on. So I want to cover that a little bit. And something I'm a little bit kind of cautious about is I'm going to react to someone's video today with you guys. That's going to come in a little while. One of the things that we've said here in this community, in the DGP community, is that we always talk about the debate. We don't attack other people. We're not about going out and trolling. We're not about going and finding someone and dogpiling them. So if I do, and I'm still a little bit undecided, but if I do react to it, what I don't want to have happen is everyone kind of march over there and give them shit in the comments. So we'll come to that in a second. Can says Spectrum, the worst place on the internet that CIG forces us to use. I mean, I don't use it at all, but Spectrum is a great place to go when you're pissed off and want to hang around other pissed off people, says Socially Confused. Reddit is a happier place than Spectrum. That says a lot. Absolutely. Yeah. So it's an interesting space, but we'll have a look at that in a little while because we're going to kind of bounce around that with the whole ship sale thing. And that's where we're going to go. So, I guess the first thing I'm going to do with you guys is I'm going to jump you across to the little view. No, that's not the one I wanted. Oops, sorry. Oh, God. Yeah, that's it. It's stream's over. Sorry, everyone can go home now. Thank you very much for coming. um, yeah, so just going to talk through a couple of things that CIG have released. They've released on their comms link 3 things I want to look at. We've got the report, which we will kind of skip over a little bit because I think a lot of people have had time to read that. It's just a couple of things that I wanted to raise with you guys. We have the the Epic Month Ahead post that they put out. and then we're going to have a look at the Squadron 42 newsletter before we jump into the In Case You Missed It sale. So, yeah, I mean, they say an epic month ahead, and there doesn't seem to be a lot in this, but I might have missed something. So we have the Chapter 2 of Save Stanton, we have the Chapter 1, that's led us up to kind of, that everyone was frantically completing before Christmas, that gave us those weapons that we could use on ships. It gave us armor and weapons and all that sort of stuff as well if we completed it. And that looks like the part 2 is coming, and the description for this is quite interesting, actually. It talks about a couple of new factions, the Frontier Fighters. It talks about the Slicers, which was the gang that we first got exposure to, that had infiltrated the other gangs that were basically behind the whole Save Stanton thing. So Frontier Fighters are like, let's go and smash them. Citizens for Prosperity going, hey, hang on, not everyone in Pyro is a bad guy. And then, the headhunters are being openly aggressive to the Frontier Fighters and physically hostile. So, yeah, and it looks like we're basically getting to choose a side in this. So this will be kind of interesting. Hello, Z Distro. Good to see you. Welcome in. Yeah, so this is going to be an interesting one. We got the Squadron 42 newsletter and update. I'll just scroll down so my head doesn't kind of obscure it. Yeah, revamped Squadron 42 newsletter. We'll come on to that in a second. I don't want to, spoil any of it, but I've kind of spoiled it with that. The In Case You Missed It sale, we'll come on to that as well. The Lunar Festival, the Red Festival, is back again, along with the envelopes that you can sell and all that sort of stuff. And then there'll be obviously the ship paints that go along with that. And the referral bonus at the moment is the Drake Dragonfly. Ugh, I'm pretty sure everyone in here, I'm trying not to sneeze. I want to sneeze for some reason. I'm sure everyone in here has already got the game, but if you don't, there is a referral link if you want to go sign up. You're more than welcome to use it, but it gets you some stuff, it gets me some stuff, but nobody has to. It's entirely up to you. So yeah, it comes with a free plane, which is kind of cool. Red Festival free fly event. There's yet another free fly. Coromor, the whole Valentine's stuff. And there's a couple of competitions, including what they say is a comic strip contest. So I guess if you're arty, that's going to be great for you. The Crux Cup is definitely worth mentioning. These guys are absolutely mad about all their racing stuff. It's definitely worth. Those guys are mad passionate about what they do. Create some really good events. So if you can go and check those guys out. They are a lot of fun. And then a little bit on the bottom about the Bar Citizen World Tour. And that's it. That apparently is the big month ahead. And I'm pretty sure that I speak for everyone when I say that what we want more than most, if not all of that, is a stable 4.0 where we can finally bin off the old 3.24 patch and transition over to this server meshed thing, but with stability, with missions that work, and with hangars that actually give everyone their ships and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, we'll see. But there's I guess there's hope anyway. Oh, didn't mean to highlight anything. There we go. Okay, monthly report. Not huge amounts in here because we've seen most of this work in action. They've kind of linked back to what happened at the end of last year. So as you can see up here, it's the November-December 2024 report. So, we've seen most of the work in here, or you would already have heard rumors and seen all that sort of stuff. Amen. Stability will do so much for the game, says Blandsmith. I think you're right, sir. I think you're absolutely correct. Yeah. So what's interesting is, I don't know if you've noticed as you run around Pyro, the dynamic conversations thing has started to happen, which is kind of cool. And that apparently is technology they've brought over from Squadron 42. So we're now starting to see that tech actually work its way into the PU. And some of the conversations are kind of crazy. I've been running around Obituary Station a lot. And yeah, some of that is absolutely mad, talking about killing people and all sorts of stuff. Oh well, that's me demonetized. Okay. AI features, again, talking about some random stuff. What's quite good fun in here is medpen equipped NPCs can revive their squad mates, providing an extra challenge. This also creates gameplay opportunities by allowing players to bait enemies into the open to heal their comrades. So the idea of like sniping someone in the open and then using that as a casualty multiplier and sniping someone else, that's a really nice idea. The only thing I have seen, I think, is like I've seen things like the cleanup script is pretty aggressive. So hopefully they can stay there for as long as that is. But yeah, as long as it needs for the NPC to come out and try and heal their buddy. Can't get the game to be consistently stable enough to make going to Pyro worthwhile. Yeah, it's a shame. I'm excited to go hang out in bars now. I'll actually turn my game music on to try and hear it. So socially confused. Oh, what, the sniper in the open socially messed up. Wound a person to draw out more victims. I mean, it's a valid tactic. It's a thing. So yeah, little bit of work on the quasi grazer, and then lots, obviously, about the AI tech. The AI seems to be doing a lot better now. I guess there's a combination of factor. That's the work that they've been doing on it. That's the server meshing, meaning the FPS rates are up and they can do stuff. There is still some horrifically jank stuff going on with the NPCs, but it seems to be the exception rather than the norm, which is exciting. Good evening to Fox Velox, to Noel Steele, to Shady Phase. Good to see you all. Glad you've come. I've had a hard time convincing myself to play Star Citizen recently. It's been so rough. Sucks because I feel like we've all built up the whole Pyro 4.0 thing being the fix, and it was such a letdown. Yeah, Fox. Funny enough, that was literally the opening to the video that I released on Friday, which is I should know better than building it up into my head because, and don't get me wrong, like I wasn't massively upset about the whole resource network and the engineering being pushed because I was kind of expecting stuff to fall out of it because server meshing was always going to be the challenge with 4.0, but I still wanted it to work well. And the first jump worked amazing. I'd left off, I hadn't done it before Christmas because I went to visit friends and family, so I was away for pretty much the entire Christmas and New Year period. So I was like, I'm going to have like 2 days after the patch comes out to look at it all and get a video out, or I can just wait. So I waited and I tried to avoid. I hadn't watched anyone do the jump. I clicked off anyone doing pyro stuff. So I went in as cold, and I hadn't done the test stuff. I hadn't done any of the PTU stuff. The first time I went into pyro was that video that was released on Friday, which was great. And the first jump went well. The problem is it took so long to get there, to get everything geared up and go. By the time I got to Monarchs and went to go explore, I was like, ugh, I'm just knackered. And it was really early in the morning. I was like, if I stay up much later, the sun's going to come up. So I went and parked the ship back in Stanton, went to bed, and that was my mistake. That was that was my mistake. I then struggled for about a week to get back into Pyro and do anything around my work schedule and that. I'm pretty sure if I dedicated just a couple of days to it, it would have been fine, but I couldn't because I was working. So yeah, it's been a bit rough, but I get it. I 100% get it. I think everyone was waiting for Pyro, waiting for Pyro, waiting for Pyro, and it's arrived, and there are all these problems. So yeah, I get that feeling from the community. I 100% understand why people are frustrated. It makes a lot of sense. It's a video game, says Noel. All's fair in love and war. Yep, 100%. Shady Face is waiting for Vulcan to be fully integrated. Every little bit helps with the performance. You're not kidding. I'm yearning for stability. Transit refactor and mission refactor says socially. Yeah, I think that's 100%. The mission change that the mission refactor was left off the roadmap card as committed for ages. I still don't know if it's been committed yet. But yeah, there's obviously issues. It was right up to the wire to release that patch. Stanton is so empty without the mission, says socially confused. I wish I had that willpower. I look at all the leaks. I love new shiny things as fast as possible. Yeah, sorry, Shady. It was my thing to try and kind of keep away from it, and it's a shame because a couple of the streamers that I watch were well into that sort of stuff, and I was like, oh, I guess I'll watch something else then. But I think that's what's made it so amazing for me. So I guess we'll talk about this now. Um, I went and did some of the remote asteroid bases with a couple of the guys, with Jamlak from chat, with Jodomo as well. We did a couple of the remote asteroid bases, and it was really, really good fun watching the AI be quite lethal. Um, looking at the puzzle solving, the way the maps are built up, finally finding that hangar that's built up for the combat. Although we didn't have the ship mission, so there was no AI in there, seeing it and seeing all the possibilities for FPS combat. That was a lot of fun. And kind of did the contested zone, got ambushed, got my backside handed to me. So, it is what it is. But again, the contested zones, there's a couple of bits in here about, kind of the usables being made for that, key cards and that sort of stuff. And I think that all bodes really well if you can get it working. Um, Fox Velox says, I watched the video. It felt cool doing that jump on my pals in a Carrack. 100%. Yeah, I bet. We all waited since 2020 when the Carrack dropped, jumped together, and that was neat. But after the fun dried up. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, bud. I think, it's not an uncommon experience right now. Everyone is kind of feeling that pinch. There's obviously a reason they brought it out in the test or the preview rather than that. And I think they were kind of a little bit in a rock and a hard between a rock and a hard place. If they hadn't released Pyro at the end of last year, people would have kicked up stink because it wasn't released. If and then so they released it. If they released it as the only patch, obviously, then people would have lost their crap because it's not working great, and they wouldn't have at least been able to fall back on 324.3, whatever it was. Um, so they kind of did the only thing that was available to him. Of course, the payoff of that is people are going to be disappointed because it isn't everything. The whole idea of it being a preview is that it's not there yet. That's what a preview is, right? It's a partial glimpse of something. So yeah, I feel your pain 100%. I feel the same. Wiggy one. Good evening, bud. Good to see you. Contested zones are scary, so socially confused. I stood outside one yesterday. I just couldn't go in. There were dead players right inside a pile of them. Yeah, so we got jumped. I was puzzle solving. One of our guys was right at the door. He got ambushed. I came back, thought I had an angle on where the people were, but there was someone else in another angle and just absolutely lasered me down. I was using the Gallant, which isn't great because it's a burst rifle, and that makes kind of keeping shots on target quite hard, whereas he was on a fully auto Kana, so he won that fight, unfortunately. But yes, it is very, very scary, and there's going to be a lot of the Star Citizen equivalent of bush Wookiees, just people camping in dark corners, waiting to absolutely nail you. That's just the way it is, I'm afraid. Yeah. So anyway, coming back then to report, lots about the AI game intelligence stuff. Moving across from the old StarScript 1.1 now to 1.5. That's what the picture is supposed to, I guess, show. Um, we've had a little bit of work on Starware, a little bit of work on the Quasi Grazer, and interestingly, it mentions player interaction animations for hacking. So I think it's likely that we're going to see hacking at some point in the next kind of 18 months. So, just a quick prediction there. And the bit, of course, that everyone wants, and I think Super Mac just put a video out on this today, but literally stuff going through white and grey box phase at the moment. The Pioneer, the Ironclad, the Paladin, the Starlancer, the TAC, the Fabrication module, which is really interesting, the Argo CSV FM, and the Apollo and the Perseus. Really excited to see the Apollo there, and of course the Perseus. Right? I'll lose the Polaris, but I don't care because I get the Perseus, and I'm going to be really happy when that ship finally gets in our hands. And let me know if you're excited for the Perseus too. It drives content and it drives engagement, and that works. But yeah, Okay, so lots of just the community stuff, which I'm going to kind of skip through, and then to the core gameplay stuff. Again, it basically just says that they were frantically firefighting what went on with 4.0. Um, you know, so yeah, not huge amounts of news in there. Just when stuff works. I think what we observed in the remote asteroid bases was that when stuff works, the server's running pretty smoothly. All the servers in the mesh, they seem to be running pretty smoothly. I'm not getting disconnects anymore. I was having an issue with lag spikes yesterday, but that was about it. Everything else, it seems to be quite smooth. I think we had probably one of our largest uninterrupted grouped gaming sessions on Friday. Which, by the way, if you want to join Discord down below, Friday night, 9 p.m. UK time, every week we do a Friday night ops. So we go and do something, whatever people are feeling like, and you'd be more than welcome to join. Socially Confused says lots of ships coming soon. And most excited for the Ironclad. It's so sexy. It's a brick, dude. It's like a brick. It's brick sexy. Is that a thing? I don't know. Avi says kind of curious to see how fast they get them out. Yeah, I mean the fact that some of those the grey box is already being mentioned for some of those is kind of really interesting. Um, Wiggy hit the nail on the head. Useful ships need a useful game first. Hoach CIG nails the stability and bugs. Industrial sexy, says Noel. Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to get in trouble now, aren't I, for crapping on the Ironclad a bit. I'm going to name my Ironclad Bricked Up. I would love to see that, mate. That would be epic. Jadomo, Heartseeker, hello, mate. Heartseeker looks pretty cool. Jag Mason, I'm waiting on the Paladin, as are many, I am sure, mate. Absolutely. A Furious Ninja, welcome in, bud. I was hoping for the Orion. Yeah, I think the capital ships are going to be a long old way away. I mean, maybe that'll come as a surprise, but at the moment, I think I think that's going to need a whole different approach to the asteroids, because something that big's going to need to be able to go in and find loads of them. It's going to like find really big rocks and just strip mine the living bejesus out of it, right? So I think that's going to be a very different um, area of the game. And I know that's a pain in the ass because I know it's not when you hear what you want to hear when you're really excited about a new ship coming out. But I don't know. I hope I'm wrong for you, mate. Is what I'm getting at. Um, Dark Matter, hello, buddy. Haven't been home since CitizenCon. What have you been up to, bud? Is the game broken still? Yes, it's broken in whole new and exciting ways, but it is broken. 4.0. I do have the Perseus Socially Confused. I'm curious if it will stop me from CCUing to the Odyssey. Heresy. Heresy, young man. How very dare you? Yeah. But good to see some new faces. So welcome in all. A little bit around the economy. They've talked about adjusting the prices of quantum and hydrogen fuel. Also talking about ordnance and making sure that the larger ordnance costs a lot. So they're using it. It's not just a case of throwing it. It's properly using it. Um, Interesting. We spoke about Vulcan earlier. I can't. That was Shady Phase, wasn't it? The team also finalized internal support for Vulcan and rolled it out as the default renderer for developers. This includes many stability improvements alongside multi-threading improvements to increase CPU performance on multi-core machines. The improvements are in the main branch, so they will reach the PU when the next major pull of the main code branch takes place. And then they've been working on research and development for Illumination, Reflections, and Planetech V5. And then we'll continue now at full pace. And that Planetech V5 stuff is just chef's kiss. Misk is the new black, says Dark Matter. Walk the plank, says Ashra. You're not wrong, sir. Yeah, absolutely. Ironically, the Paladin is kind of made obsolete by the same paragraph. Super Hornet, Heartseeker, and Wildfire represent. Yeah, I think my issue with the whole DPS thing at the minute is it's coming from an unofficial source, so they're pulling that out, and I don't like going. to the boards on that until we've actually seen it from CIG, because again, we've had stuff like this not be not come as people were expecting, and people get themselves worked up into a lather without it actually being like that. So yeah, I just want to play a little bit clever about that one. Interactables. There's two words in here that I'm sure will get some people's eyes twitching. Okay, the keycards, the fuse slots, and server blades. Not for a second trying to intimate that server blades are coming in as we expect them, as they're going to work as replacement for NPC, Curie, and Automate turrets and that sort of stuff. But the fact that it's been mentioned is kind of fun. Yeah, mission design, ongoing mission refactor, which we all know about because I think we're all experiencing that. The guys were talking in Discord today about markers not popping up, missions not tracking correctly. I mean, I did one of the outpost missions, landed, and I had to reduce the hostile forces there, and it was already at 0% when I got there, didn't quit, nothing. It was just, yeah, couldn't do anything. And then, of course, when you leave, you get it as abandoned or failed or whatever, and you take the reputation hit, which hopefully they will do something about. Because I know even missions where abandoning doesn't make sense, like hauling and stuff, people have taken serious reputation hits because the system doesn't work. And I hope maybe they do something like zero out all the negative reputations, so you go back to neutral and can earn back your way. I hope they do something like that for people who have, through no fault of their own, gone into negative rep with factions they want to work with, because the mission system isn't working. Yeah, so online technology talks a lot about the whole, server meshing and all that sort of stuff. They've been working on it. Um, it's. I think I've not noticed changing between servers. I've not noticed crossing lines. There doesn't seem to be some big burp as you go from one server to another, and that's incredible. The fact that they've got this working now, that to me, if I was honest, if you got me drunk, at one Citizen Con and said, "What do you think the biggest threat to Star Citizen is?" It would have been that, right? It would have been the idea that they're not going to get server meshing working, and if they can't get server meshing working, the game can't work because you just cannot render that many entities that they want. I mean, we've got a couple of gameplay loops in a minute. We got salvage, we got mining, we got combat in all its different forms. We got a little bit of exploration, maybe, but not really. We got hauling, and we've got, well, that's about it, right? You think of all the entities that would had to be added for all of the other loops that they're doing. The gas cloud stuff, being able to refine out of a gas cloud, and all the scoop stuff, and just the game wouldn't hold up. So the fact that they've got there is kind of incredible. I know it doesn't make up for people's experiences not enjoying 4.0, but think. Wiggy says, to be fair, there is plenty of time and opportunity for CIG to absolutely break crossing the servers with meshing. Yeah, 100%. And I'll go one further, Wiggy. I would say that's going to happen at some point. They're going to break something because, I bang on about this every single time. They've not done it before. So if there's a mistake to be made, they have to make it to know not to do it in the future, if that makes any sense. So yeah, what's really interesting here is the R&D stuff has got some really interesting stuff in there. So they are working on the first version of dynamic weather. So they've got a weather map support. It looks at temperature, humidity, and the wind map. Okay, that then figures out where the wind go or where the rain goes. They're also ruling it out for certain biomes because obviously being in the desert and having it rain would be, on a regular basis, would be really weird. And they're also limiting it to certain types of clouds. So it sounds more like a dynamic weather simulation than just, it's going to be quite in depth. They've got things about like you working on the clouds still, but as hopefully I showed in that video on Friday, some of the cloud tech, I turned it up to max. I turned it up to kind of photo mode or whatever that is they call it, and holy cow, is it beautiful! I just need them now to go in to show that this system is working as they said it would, and that they can just turn the old stuff over, that they're not having to reinvent the wheel, so that Stanton's clouds do exactly what Pyro's clouds are doing. But we'll see. Not much more in there really. They're still working on the CitizenCon digital goodies pack. They've done work on the bringing the Mirrorite Guardian in and that sort of stuff. Um, and then there are now the fuse puzzles, part of which is the whole um, the contested zones. So to get through the first part of the contested zones, you need to find a relay, put it in, and then kind of get the door open basically. And the relays are dotted around. You got to do like a little bit of a jumping puzzle or a thingy puzzle to get there. So that's quite good fun. It's just a bit of a pain in the ass that you're moving things around with a tractor beam as the door opens and 4 heavily armored players come out, all with their guns up, and it's just a really easy way to die. So you've got to be a little bit careful. Going with friends into the contested zones is probably the best way of doing it. Wiggy, I live in the desert. It rains here. I want CRG to do scary hailstorms. They get those too. I mean, cool. Living in the desert, I guess. I defer to your wisdom on that, but flash floods and desert canyons would rock. Massive sandstorms clog up engines, mess with sensors. Fury Road style sandstorms would be epic. I mean, can we just get them to do the rain and some wind, and some sun without it breaking the game first? But let's do that bit and then let's do the rest. I don't disagree. They would all be very cool, but yeah. No, says socially. No, just straight to cataclysmic dust storms, a la Fury Road. I want an apocalypse, says socially. I mean, if Spectrum and the YouTube space is to be believed, mate, we're in the apocalypse right now. It's all going wrong. Okay, so onto the Squadron 42 newsletter then, and very little. This is not the same format as the reports anymore. There's a link that I can't get to work, which is basically talking about the music from Squadron 42, which they recorded with a real orchestra, which is really cool. Pretty sure that's Pedro there, or I'm not. I would expect that to be Pedro anyway. There's a couple of wallpapers, one for your mobile, there's some ringtones for your phone, and then the pre-sale of a Squadron 42 sticker set, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is that. That is the entirety of the Squadron 42 newsletter. Excuse me a sec. Sorry, there we go. So that is literally that. That is all that's in there. That's everything in the newsletter. Not that exciting. I mean, don't get me wrong, I do like the music stuff. I'm a massive like film and that sort of music buff. I went to see Hans Zimmer live a couple of years ago, about a good few years ago now in Birmingham, and it was probably the closest I've come yet to a spiritual experience. It was incredible. So all this sort of stuff I'm actually quite interested in. But I get that for a lot of people, this is just make music good. What I did kind of like was, so as I said in the video, I left the game music on when I did the jump, and I'd completely forgot that I had it on, because it just suited like the quantum from Area 18 up to the Pyro jump gate, from there over to um, the approaching the gate, and then making the jump. It uses the music from 2019, from when we first saw the jump happen, and then there's this wonderful change halfway through that then reaches its crescendo as you exit the jump gate. So that music on that video wasn't, I didn't edit any of that. I didn't put that in. That was from the game footage. And that's really cool that they're doing that, that it's kind of informing things as they go. I really like it. I'm a massive fan. Um, Wait till dynamic weather debuts flash floods. and the ship killing lightning storms. Yeah, that's the thing that I'm scared about. Can you imagine the complaints of players who are going to be inconvenienced by the weather? Yeah, 100%. Can you imagine like when weather gets to the point where it's going to be a go no go for launch, whereas you're going to look at it and go, we can't take off in this, so we're going to have to wait. Like people will be raging. There seems to be a big spoiler in the video. Oh, interesting socially. I can't seem to somehow get it to work because I click on it and then it does that and then it doesn't. Yeah. Um. Socially, if you've got Discord, if anyone's got the actual link to watch this on Discord, or can send it to me on Discord, do that and we'll watch it together. Um. But yeah, if there are spoilers in it, because that'd be really cool. But yes, unfortunately, yeah, this is a feature 100%. It just doesn't work for me, and it doesn't give me the open link stuff either. You see what I mean? It just I have this all the time, but normally I can open it up in. You see what I mean? It's just not. I don't understand. So yeah, while we're seeing if anyone's able to link that through Discord, um, Ninja says more reasons for me crashing into the moons at Mach 3 if they have hail and snowstorms. Yep, 100%. Or fog. Fog's going to be a fun one. We already have to turn our engines off when landed because of the weather. Yeah, Blam. I found that with the wind as well. So we were on one of the, I think it was Bloom or Monarchs. I can't remember. We were on the planet and fighting through an outpost, and the wind was so strong, like I could barely move. I could walk forward a little bit, and it just like there was no indication. There was no indication of it coming. It's not like Sea of Thieves where you can see the direction that it's coming from, so you can go, okay, I'll move across the wind. It just all of a sudden you stop moving, and then you've kind of got to do a little bit of a 360 to figure out which direction you can run in, which is a really bad idea if you're caught in the open getting slotted by AI. So yeah, you've got to be a little bit careful with it. But anyway, all our ships are made of styrofoam in Star Citizen. That's why, says Wiggy. 100%. Everything is made of styrofoam. Okay, on to the thing that seems to be causing a few people some consternation is the In Case You Missed It sale. So this puts everything that was released, either in concept or straight deployable, from last year, um, on sale again. So you can grab it for the next little bit. So yeah, you've got your combat ships. Exploration is basically broken them up into slots, right? So we'll just go across. It's kind of set up like the IAE stuff, but the Retaliator's there, and a lot of these will have upgrade things as well. So the Hornet, Paladin, Guardian, TAC, Polaris. And a lot of these will have, or some of these will have upgrade offers. So the Tracker's got one, and so on and so on. In fact, quite a few of these have special upgrade offers. So yeah, and we'll just click through quickly. Sorry, it's just behind my camera. So your exploration stuff, all of one ship, yay! Racing. It's kind of weird that there's more racing ships coming out at the minute than exploration. But then again, I guess racing is an actual loop, whereas exploration is an aspiration, right? Exploration is an aspiration. Good lord, words. Um, okay, Terrapin and the medevac. Still kind of tempted for the Terrapin, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe I will, and maybe I won't. Problem is, I've got the Apollo in my fleet as well, so I feel kind of bad. The Atlas is in there, the SM module. Okay, so the cargo module, or the cargo version. MPUV Tractor, Intrepid, Starlancer, Ironclads, and Zeus. So they're all in there too. So if you missed any of it, It's that. Link in on Discord on the SC chat. Thank you, mate. I'm just going to very quickly come back to this one, so I don't dox myself or do anything else stupid. And then I'm going to go grab that link from the chat. Thank you very much, Socially. I appreciate it. You, sir, are a legend among men. So bear with me 2 seconds. Let's go on that one. Visit site. Kill that. Okay, so it's only 2 minutes. We're all good. We're all good. So you might have heard a little bit of sound there. Apologies if you had. Let's zip back across. Skip that one. Okay, pop this back up. This is what's called pro streaming. Is like you guys not being able to hear anything at all. Okay, I'm going to keep it there, and I'll play with the volume level. So don't worry if it's not too bad. But let's take a look. There's something about an orchestra that you just can't match. Yeah, like that. Digital mock-up versus the final mix track. All right, I love it. Interesting. Yeah. Normally, not a fan of. See, I don't think that was. Right? I tell you why I don't think that was her. Is there was some words on the coffin and it had an S in it. And isn't she Rachel McLaren? United Earth Empire doesn't have an S in it either. There. I don't think that is. I don't think that's McLaren. Possibly. But yeah. Smithers. Smithers buys it, confirmed. Yeah, absolutely. Weathers. Oh, possibly. Yeah. Yeah. So an interesting one, right? Yeah, let's just gonna come back to this one. Smart Shamel, yeah, absolutely. 100%. Yeah. Yeah. Shemry Scavel. Yeah, buys it. Confirmed. You heard it here first, folks. But yeah. So that's that. yeah, a bit of an interesting one. You know, I love that sort of stuff. I was hoping it would be a little bit more of a documentary, and there's a really nice video. I mean, maybe I'll go and find it, right? This is the sort of thing that I was hoping for, because I also think that it's an incredible, it's like a 4-minute look into the music that Hans Zimmer did for Interstellar, right? It's a 5-minute look. And I know it's going to be really weird, but if you like that sort of music, this is well worth watching as well, right? So give me a second. I'm just going to see if I can skip past all the ads and whatnot, and then we'll go and have a look. Oh, I've got a bit of a cold. Sorry if you can hear me snarking. I'm trying to mute it every time I need to, kind of, but I feel bunged up. I do apologise. It is rather cold here in the UK, and then all of a sudden, sitting in here with the PC on and the lights on, it gets really warm really quickly. So yeah, give me just a moment. Okay, so let's jump across. This is what I was hoping we were going to get. There's something like this. Okay, you can go find this on YouTube. It's incredible.
It was very important to me that the music not pay any attention to the genre of the film. What I wanted to do was to engage Hans in a very pure creative process.
I was working on a completely different movie, and Chris said to me, if he were to write one page of something, and he wouldn't tell me what the movie was about, but he'd just write one page, would I give him one day, and just whatever came to my mind, I would start writing.
This is great.
What I wrote for Hans to get him started was some dialogue that I'd written for the film, mixed with some ideas behind the film, without any indications as to genre or scale, just to free him up from that.
44 degrees.
This is, of course, where Chris gets tricky, really about a father and his relationship to his son. It's only later on that I found out that the son wasn't a son at all, it was a daughter. I sat down and I wrote this piece really about what it feels like to be a father and what it feels like to have a son, and I was writing about my son.
When he played me the piece of music which became the basis for the entire score, I thought it was absolutely perfect and captured the emotional qualities of the film that I wanted. And it was at that point that I told him that it was actually a large-scale science fiction film. I hadn't given him any clues about that.
You know, it's not an action film, it's not Batman, so it just isn't any of those things.
They tricked him. Bastards.
I think what that did for him was it set him very firmly in a direction relating to the heart of the film. I mean, I listened to it extensively while I was finishing writing the script, and then when we were in production as well.
We went to Temple Church in central London, and we set up a mobile recording system.
It's great
they really
because
wanted
it builds
to use
up
the church organ. And I also made the case very strongly for some feeling of religiosity to it, even though the film isn't religious, but that the organ, the architecture of cathedrals and all the rest, they represent mankind's attempt to portray the mystical or the metaphysical, what's beyond us, beyond the realm of the everyday.
The live, real human will always give you this extra piece of magic.
Agreed.
And we got plenty of magic in Roger.
This dude's like...
Roger was this sort of amazing human being that happened to us.
This dude's 20 seconds of fame, right? Look at this.
This humble man who's just an extraordinary player.
He would play me the sample and said, well, what have you got? And I would give him a selection. He said, oh, that's a little too heavy, or that's a little too bright, or that's a little too harsh. Once he began to realize what the capabilities of this organ were, he began to get more adventurous. And we began to sort of create as we were going. You know, how about this, Hans? Yeah, I like that. That's good, sort of thing.
Sorry.
But it's not what he had in mind.
Sorry.
The organ really is a huge, complicated synthesizer. If you think about it, you have a pipe, and air blows through it, and that makes a sound. And it makes the sound of one pitch. And then if you want to shift color, you add another pipe to it, and you add more pipes. And so it becomes these really very, very complex harmonic structures.
Anyway.
And there was this endless
that's what that looks like, right? And I was kind of hoping for that, because I find that riveting. Obviously 6 people didn't, 'cause 6 people have left. But I find that really interesting, that sort of short form documentary. And I think that's kind of a really interesting place. It's an interesting point you bring up, Shitty Face. I'm betting Rachel McLaren does die, but your rep will be determined as whether you bring with her or not. I don't think it's a choice, and I'll show you for why. I'm going to go and grab the end of that Squadron 42 intro. Because I don't think you get the choice. From what I remember, it just tells you must take her with you. So we'll grab the last little bit. I'm going to jump across. The sound's going to start suddenly.
We're doing good.
Just knock the sound down a bit. So there you go. Oh, this is the bit where he climbs up the wall, isn't it? Yeah, he takes a step back and... I know. Yeah, he gets punted into the wall that climbs up it. What are you up to, dude?
Nice work.
McLaren saves our backside, which is good.
Tommy, quick!
Well, son of Heartless, so-and-so would leave Scully to die. Right? That's that. So, we give her... I'm just going to skip through it a little. We give her the gun. Oh my god, look out! McLaren gets stabbed. Sorry, spoilers for anyone who's not seen it. Well, if you haven't seen this yet, then, you know, what are you even doing here, right? So, the bit that I want to show you is this.
Sir.
Not sir, ma'am.
Don't argue. Just do me a favor. Give this to Bishop. Tell him it's all gonna be okay. Tell him it was a good trip.
Warning. Collision imminent.
Get the hell out of here.
Warning. Impact. Warning. Impact. Warning.
See what I see? Up there. Escape with McLaren. Doesn't seem to give you a choice. So, yeah, it seems to be a fairly... It doesn't seem like it's you know, it could have just said nothing and then you then grab her or don't. And I mean, they might change that, right? This might be an old thing, and they might have done this specifically to stop us thinking about the choice. But at the moment, that's what it says. I mean, that would be a clever way to avoid the spoilers thing that they seem to be worried about. Do you remember they did the whole Asiado Station Squadron 42 thing, and it was like, this is going to be the first in a series on Squadron 42. They did one, and then were like, no, we're not doing any more because it'll be spoilers. And it'll be like, hang on, could you not have decided that before? But yes, so maybe that's a way of doing it. They say escape with McLaren, and actually it's just a choice to run off the ship or not. I thought that would be a really neat device in it as well, you know, to get... and maybe that comes out later. Maybe Bishop finds out and gets narked at you. But yeah, why not? Captain goes down with the ship. Socially, that's cold, dude. Hey, I'm all good with it being somewhat on rails at storytelling. Yeah, 100%. I don't, you know, that wasn't a quality statement. That wasn't me saying it was good or bad or indifferent. I'm merely saying that at the moment, seeing that makes me think there's no choice. But you know, maybe there is. Maybe you can just leave that anyway, get into the pod and be like, bye. yay, and then shoot off from the ship. No clue. Absolutely no clue. But there we are. Although I wouldn't recommend waving through the porthole of the escape pod. That might be a little bit mean, maybe. So yeah, so one of the things that I wanted to cover today and react to is what Can says. Can says there's also lines in the dialogue scene cutscene later that refers to her as if she's alive. Yeah, I think it says something like she wrote a recommendation for you to or reference for you, sort of thing. I mean, we can listen, right? We can go and have a look. I know the bit that you're talking about, so you blast away. And this is actually not a bad bit to watch either.
I do solemnly pledge, mind and body, I will defend the Empire with my life.
It obviously gets in.
Your application to the Flight Academy has been reconsidered. Captain McLaren had submitted a letter of recommendation on your behalf before the battle.
So she submitted the letter before the battle. Yeah, that.
We may be a small crew, but the work we do matters.
Welcome to the Stanton.
Oh God, yeah. Not that much choice.
I'm Petty Officer Webster, Chief Mechanic.
This will be your new home.
Peppy.
Lieutenant Commander Colton. He's one of our best.
Sir, who the hell are you?
I'm your new wingman, sir. The name's...
You want me to learn your name?
No, I think it's left specifically ambiguous, right? They wouldn't. What's really interesting, we'll go and have a look at this too, is something that she said when her full motion video was being recorded. Bearing in mind it's very old and we don't know if things have changed. Spider-Man is very cool. Now I want the PU looking like that. Jeff's guess. But yeah, so there's that, right? But that seems to be it. So yeah, I mean, we can go and have a look at the other bit if we want. So there's a bunch of it, basically a bunch of interviews and stuff. If you just put in Gillian Anderson Star Citizen, there's a whole bunch of stuff, which I guess we can go and have a look at if you want to. Let's have a look. I bet it's an SC advert that my ad blocker's currently punting into the middle of nowhere. Oh no. Take a great look.
There's no hiding anything in those suits. I don't think that I was quite prepared for how exposed you are and walking around. And I was okay because at least mine was black. The only thing to do really at that juncture is just to laugh at yourself, laugh at the situation.
It was kind of fun. It was Gillian's last day. She was great, playing Rachel McLaren, the daughter of Admiral Bishop, who's played by Gary Oldman. She was a good sport. We ran around, did all these crazy motion sets with her, and so she was game for everything.
It was made extremely friendly and comfortable very, very quickly by the other actors and by the director and the crew. Put your ego at the door and just have fun.
That's kind of one of the nice things that we're trying to do here is work with really good actors and have fun with them and try and get some of their magic into the digital world. Just another day.
Incoming. Stay sharp.
You know, I look like Sandy the squirrel from SpongeBob. It's just strange to be doing, you know, very, very serious scenes with serious actors when you look like that. Whatever technology was attached to us is picking up every single emotion. It really kind of focuses your mind on that this is a serious situation. You've also got Gary Oldman and Mark Strong.
Yeah, we were going through a list of actresses that we thought would be believable as Gary's daughter and a strong person that would be able to lead the ship, because you have to believe that this person is in command and is confident, you know, all the things that I think Gillian can do really well.
Never gets old, does it?
Sir.
Yetis.
So we're going to have Gary on the set and her, but Gary will be at his station and she'll be at her station, but really Gary's on the bridge of the Kugari and Gillian's on the bridge of the Gauntlet.
I ordered you to fall back.
Can't do that, Admiral. You're dead in the water and we can help you.
In our room was the plywood furniture, and on the TV it was already surrounded by the ship as it will look. That is just completely new for me, and I think a lot of people too. It took a lot of kind of explain, oh no, don't you get it? That's what is going on here. And everybody goes, oh my God.
Her gun handling is much better than like
other
us.
people don't
Yeah,
name names.
she looked good. I mean, like, hey, you could capture the combat set if you want.
Contact! I need some cover now!
I think I held a gun on the fall, but when I used to shoot guns on the X-Files, you know, it was a Sig Sauer. It was a, you know, a proper issue metal heavy gun, and these were pieces of wood stuck together, painted gray. I shot at huge aliens. Initially, you know, I was running around in my suit and shooting to a degree, and then Chris said, hang on a second, let me just show you what these guys do.
See, that's actually the size of the creatures, so they're pretty big.
Shit, yeah. And this will work on them?
Yes.
Contact! Contact!
Well, I had a huge amount of fun.
I'll
and it
link the
wasn't
video in a
embarrassing
second,
enough to not
socially.
come back again.
Just, can we just hear that again? What did she say?
Well, I had a huge amount of fun, and it wasn't embarrassing enough to not come back again.
It's not embarrassing enough to not come back again.
It's a great day.
Yeah, it was fun.
Pretty amazing. Yeah.
Just saying.
Dream come true. Julian Anderson and Space Marines and aliens.
And it's fun to have like great actors and also people you've sort of seen growing up. They're going to bring the world alive, and I think it'll be an experience that.
So yeah, there's a whole series of these, and I will go grab the links and get them for you. But this one, I'll pop it into the chat now, and this is one, and it should link you into all the others. They did a couple for, they did some for Gillian. I think they did some for Mark Hamill. They did one for John Rhys Davies. So yeah, there's plenty in there to go and have a look at. They are lots and lots of fun. As in, yeah, Space Marines, as in UEE Marines, not. What are you, bro? None of that nonsense. But yeah, so quite an interesting take on the whole thing. I'm still not sure if I want to do this, because the last thing I want to do is send people over there. So if we're happy that I'm not doing this to go and give this guy's nose, I'm trying to rebut what's being said in the video, then I'm happy to do it. You know, what I don't want to do is cause him issues. I'm not going to name him. You may well know him. My face is going to appear where he is. You know, it's not going to stop you hearing it and that sort of stuff, but, you know, the whole point here, and you'll see the title of the video anyway. But I just, you know, if Bakula's can afford to pay her to revise her role, so she, yeah, 100% that. But I just want to rebut a couple of things that are said in this video. So I guess we'll bite the bullet and go with it.
In case you missed it, this is yet another.
Okay, give me a second. So I'll get the volume back to where it works. Okay, let's take a look.
Ah, yes, there you go. In case you missed it, this is yet another sales event. Why? Well, because you obviously are desperate for money. That's why. This was never done before. In case you missed it, this is like a ship sale event right after having the big ship sale event from a month ago. That's what.
Him. There's a couple of people going, him. Okay. So, there's a couple of things I want to say here as we go through, and just things that I want to say are just, this looks like what we're going to do is we're going to take whatever's happening, we're going to manufacture it in the view of the worst possible, from the worst possible viewpoint. If you take a company like Amazon or whatever, their products are on sale all year round. They might do sales and whatever else, but everything is on sale all of the time. What Amazon don't do is withhold 75% of their products and only sell them during certain parts of the year. Star Citizen does. Right? CIG withhold 75% of thanks, dropped. Thanks for clarifying. I mean, that could have gone either way, right? Again, please, just like, I appreciate the sentiment, but please don't. This is not an invitation to flame. This is not an invitation to troll. This is talking about what he's talking about in the video. I'm not talking about him. This isn't me and this guy in a beef. This is me just refuting what's been said in the video, basically. And it's weird, right? You've got a company like CIG that has this huge range of ships, and yet for most of the year they don't sell some of them. So the shock that seems to manifest in the community when some of them are sold seems a little bit disingenuous. But we'll go on.
What we're doing here? Okay. Yeah, folks, as always, welcome to the channel. If you enjoy the content, do subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you want to play Star Citizen, I don't know, let's check this out together. I have no idea. I just thought it was embarrassing to do this right after having the ship sale event. But, well, let's just call this in case you missed it.
Again, it's a company that sells stuff, and people seem to be surprised when it sells stuff. But
Alpha 4.0. View vehicles. All right, let's go view the vehicles. What is it there that I could have missed? Let me see. Great. Okay. Okay, so combat. The Guardian. No, thank you, but no. You always do the same thing. You nerf the shit out of everything you sell. Oh, you want to sell the ship you pre-nerfed that was already terrible at launch? Yeah, good luck with that. Zeus. What kind of people buy the Zeus? Spamming missiles, I guess. That's. Oh no, this is racing. And the medical thing here, which I don't know why would you buy this? But there it is.
Give you a
this
bunch
one
of
is
reasons
pretty.
if you'd like them.
Star Lancer. That's a pretty looking ship. I won't say otherwise. I'll be honest about these things. I think it's.
So, again, when I say people take things from the worst possible angle, it's like the what could I have possibly missed? It's like, no, it's not whether or not you knew it was released, although these people be encompassed in this as well. It's the, if you didn't buy it in time. And sure, like, you'll miss out on the discounts for ships coming war bond, and you won't get some of the nice to haves in there, like the upgraded insurance and stuff. But there are times when people can't afford stuff, and if you're not going to sell your range the whole time, you're kind of almost limiting yourself. I feel like that should be the competition. Sorry, the conversation, right? Sorry, cold. It's not about whether, it's not about why are they selling it again, it's why are they not selling everything all the time in the first place. But yeah, so moving on.
It's good looking, but I'll keep my Taurus instead. It has 4 size 5 guns and more cargo, I believe it is. Yeah. Yep. No, $40 for an Atlas robot. Why would you do this to yourself? What, you like getting screwed? I guess.
No, I've got a very simple answer for why you would do this. There's the time versus money principle. And generally speaking, when it comes to gaming, those with the most amount of time to game are the ones with the least amount of disposable income, because they're not using that time to do other things. And conversely, those with the least amount of time tend to be those with the most amount of money. Now, that's not always the case. Of course, there are other drains on your time than just money, or sorry, just making money. But generally speaking, that's the rule. This is why companies like Blizzard implemented the game token, where people who do nothing but play the game can buy game time with in-game gold that they've got all the time in the world to earn, and those people who normally engage with gold sellers, who don't have the time to farm stuff, can buy a game token because they have more disposable income. It's the same with the Atlas. People don't want the hassle of having Atlases stolen, especially in the light of like the insurance things that were talked about at CitizenCon. You have a warranty on it, you'll always get it back. That's why you would go and buy one. Maybe people don't want to spend the time to go and think. I know they're ridiculous. I get what he's saying. They are ridiculously cheap in the game at the minute, but that's likely not to always stay that way, and so on and so forth. So yeah, CI greed is a funny pun, so socially. Yeah, Plex in Eve is another example. Exactly, Astra. That. So yeah, let's move on.
That some people do. Let's go check some. These categories: combat, exploration, rescue, medical. I mean, so many interesting things to do. How could you not buy everything that they have to sell? I don't know. Let's go here in the shop. Is it that they have any game pack, any offer, any discount?
Well, no, because what they said was every ship launched in 2024. They didn't say game packs. They said ships. So I feel like this is going to be a couple of minutes of not much else to say, because once again, through taking the worst possible view of what's going on, we're now going to spend a couple of minutes missing the point.
Game packages, yeah, that's what I'm looking at. Right, let's see what there is. Let's see what you can actually buy. Okay, fucking $80 for the Intrepid. No way. Why would you do this to yourself? So there's not really any promo, is there?
Do I need to answer that, or do we feel like we're good on that front? Why would you buy it? Well, maybe because you want the Intrepid and you don't have the game.
So $80 for this, no way. Okay, so you can get the game package for $45. Between the Aurora MR and the Mustang, I would go with the Aurora simply because it has a bed. And the bed allows you to log out.
Socially,
yeah, I would go with that over the Mustang. The Mustang has any kind of storage? Let me know in the comments. Have they fixed that? Because I'm not sure if they did. A C8X Pisces, no, especially not for $60. If you're gonna spend $60, you might as well go with the Cutter. 4.8 SCU, is it? I think it's 4 SCU. The 100i, I like that one. Definitely like the Avenger 10 a lot more. I like it a lot more when it's selling for $50. Why is it that you don't have a discount now? Yeah, this kind of sucks, doesn't it? So usually this is the ship I tell people to go for. Everything else, earn it in game. Don't be an idiot and start spending stupid money. And yeah, I'm the least indicated one to say that, but that's the advice I have for you. What is it you want from me?
I think the problem here is what qualifies any creator sat here to tell people what to do with their money. Right? We're just a bunch of people with cameras who are massively interested or not maybe in a computer game. That doesn't qualify me on what to tell you about games. And even if I was basically a walking Urkel app, right, and I had all the DPS and I could do all the calculations off the top of my head, that still doesn't make it any better, because what I can't do is, tell you how it's going to change. Yeah, don't spend stupid money, has concierge race. To be fair, he does say, I'm not the one to be saying that, but then goes on saying that. And I think this is the problem, right, is that there are people who, first off, as hobbies go, gaming is about as expensive as anything else, right? You want to try building kit cars or golf or any hobby really with a decent material component. So yeah, it's hey Janigal, welcome in. Yes, it's that sort of stuff. So I'll tell you what to buy, Origin, and what not to buy, Drake. She says, well, yes, absolutely. So yeah, for a lot of people, the ship's aesthetic plays a huge part. And this is the thing, and I had this conversation with the info runners a number of times, is there are times when common sense doesn't matter. You might know that it's not the most optimal ship, but something about it makes you want it, and that is fine. If you are running yourself into financial ruin doing this stuff, if you are buying it, thinking that this is a completed game and things are as they are now and they're not going to change, don't do it. Not because I know what to do with your money, just because those are faulty premises to start from. If you're buying the cutter going, yeah, I'll have it, and hey, if I don't like it, I'll upgrade from it. Who cares that you're buying the cutter? I'm not going to miss this money. It's fine. Let people do what people are going to do.
Yeah, get the $45 Aurora. If you end up liking it, upgrade to an Avenger Titan, and that's kind of where you want to be. You don't want to spend $80 on this shitty Intrepid, as nice as the interior of that ship is. Doesn't make any sense. It's gonna be a lot cheaper in game, and $80 gets you a lot more than that. I mean, not as much as it used to. It used to be that the Cutlass was like what, $80-$90? Yeah, maybe even cheaper back in the day. No, now it's they're desperate for money. I don't see any discounts here. What are they trying to do here? Are they trying to rip you off again? Are they trying to really rip? There's no discount in this. If
selling people things without a discount is not a rip-off. Just saying. It's not a starter package sale. It's a ship sale. So we've gone to an area where they're not selling things. They've said they're not selling things, and then we're whinging because they're not doing those things in that area that they never said that they were doing in the first place, which is a little bit strange. Karen says the big problem for it is for a number of ships we don't know what we're even going to get as the game needs to change. For those ships to be relevant, exactly that. Avoid the brand inquisition for being a heretic. Stunner, welcome in, bud. Good to see you. He may actually be incapable of saying a sentence without contradicting himself. Again, I don't want to, I'm going to shy away from calling him out. This is more the logic of his arguments, right?
If you forgot sales, so this is yet another sales event, right? And they're not giving you...
Why sales? This is a falsism. They're selling ships. Sales, as in, I made a sale today, not that I'm having a sale, i.e. discounted merchandise. That is not, it's not merchandise. As Shadowgirl said, it's not a sale event, although there are some upgrade discounts, if you want to, but there's always upgrade discounts whenever they sell stuff that is limited. This is merely stuff that isn't normally on sale is now on sale. I don't know where the discounts thing has come from.
Any discount package. Nothing in terms of a solid discount package here. Nope. Why would you go with this thing?
Well,
right, let's see. Ship upgrades.
You don't have to, because it's about ships. So if you're in the game package area, it doesn't make sense. Do you see what I mean about sometimes people seem to make this content because they want to, and we're up to 2.7 thousand views. I know I've just kind of revealed the name there. Again, please don't go and give this guy grief, okay? But you see what I mean? 2.7 thousand views, and most of the information and most of the arguments here, in my opinion, he's not worth 2 seconds, but I will suffer a few badges. Stack, absolutely, and I'm sorry if people aren't enjoying this particular kind of thing. I tend to stay away, but I feel like we've reached the point now where some of this is, with the attention around Squadron, with all that coming out, all that, I think it's the first time in a long old while videos about Star Citizen have been reaching over 1 million views, right? In terms of the Squadron 42 gameplay trailer, Hybrid Audio cut it together so it was just like the space battle bits. So it was just the cutscenes without the gameplay. And I think a couple of those now are over 1 million views. So we're getting reach that we haven't seen, and then it's the people are coming in to have a look, and then they're seeing stuff like this. And it's just about refuting the arguments. Legitimate criticism, the experience of 4.0, the nerfing of ships. I've not disagreed with them on nerfing of ships, because ships do get nerfed. I agree with him 100%. If that was the advice, I wouldn't have thing. But Shameless, selling 100%, or not even 100%, selling slightly more of the catalogue that you have, that you're not selling, the idea that that's shameless is just... I don't track with it. I don't see the logic.
Any war bond thing that you may want to consider.
Yes, plenty.
Let's start with the cheapest little thing you can have, going from any war bond thing that you may want to consider.
For someone who says
Let's
don't
start
buy
with
stuff.
the cheapest little thing you can have. I
don't mean to be funny, but didn't he say, why would you buy the Pisces? Just go for the cutter. Right? Why would you buy the Steve? Why would you buy the Pulse? Why would you buy the Hoverquad? And the thing is, there are reasons to buy them. So, like, that's the point, right? Is that, and don't get me wrong, these might be referral bonuses. I get that 100%. But still, right? Is that they're in there? That's the problem. But anyway,
thing that you may want to consider. Let's start with the cheapest little thing you can have. Going from there, let's move over that.
Sorry.
Nothing on the cheap side of things.
I'll follow him.
Any war bond. For those that don't know, when you buy a CCU, which is basically an upgrade.
I didn't know he was going to do that. I haven't seen this video before,
right,
genuinely.
Let's go with all ships. Let's say you have you bought an Aurora MR, right? You bought the cheaper ship there is. Aurora MR, you have one of these things, right? You have an Aurora MR, and you like the game, and you think, yeah, man, this is solid. I want to have a...
You could just go through the ships that are on there and cycle through all of them and then see which ones say special upgrade offer, right? That could work too, right? He thwarted your plan. Yeah, 100%. And this is the thing, right? So I'm gonna when I say follow him, I meant just move up there. I didn't mean follow him in terms of content strategy. So that, right? And do you know what? I'm gonna leave it there. I think 5 minutes of that is enough. It is just disappointing, I think, that people feel the need to kind of jump on this and spread so much misinformation when we know that there are new people coming into the fold. This is the time where content creators need to be saying things like, and maybe this is a video, right? And I'll see what you guys think, but I think what people need to be doing right now is saying to people, hi, are you just here from like all the viral footage? Right. Come here. We need a chat. Before you go spending money, here's what's going on. Right? And all that sort of, and fit that in. Because here is, and you can, it's a CIG shill, meh. No. My issue is, my concern is not for CIG. My concern is for these people who are taking this advice and then doing something stupid. Either ruling themselves out of a game they might enjoy, or spending money for reasons that they shouldn't be because of the advice of people online. Because not everyone is sensible enough to go and do a shit ton of research. They'll watch a couple of videos, and if you watch the wrong combination of videos, of which there are many of them, because we know, as I said, salt farmers and all that sort of stuff, and this is the other thing. Shadow Girl raises a really good point. No one in these videos seems to still be saying you can earn this stuff in game. Why has he not said that once? We talked about upgrades. We talked about everything else. We haven't talked about you can earn this stuff in game. Don't buy anything. Yes, there are a couple of hulls that you will not be able to get unless you bought them. The Saber Raven off the back of the Octane drive and the Mark 1s and all that sort of stuff. we don't know how much, if any, of that is going to be available in game, and I get it. There's other holes as well. I've not mentioned them all. So there are some, but you don't have to spend anything. Buy the game. I would say buy the Squadron 42 add-on, but obviously they can't do that now because that's going to be sold as its own package. Just do that. But, and this is the problem, is it's not CIG that I'm bothered about, it's all the people that are coming in that are basically being used as a resource to farm clicks, to drive ad revenue, to increase bases for people who are getting paid videos, sponsored videos and all that sort of stuff from other companies, not CIG, because CIG don't do it, but, from NordVPN and everyone else who are going, oh, there's some reach here, let's go with that. And it's like, that's the shameless bit, is it not? Just because this is for some people a hobby, and they come in and they when they're bothered, they turn their camera on, or they don't even turn the camera on, they put something together, it takes them an hour, and then they vomit it onto the internet. It's like, that doesn't absolve you of the responsibility of what you're doing, and you have to be a little bit responsible in the space. And I'm not talking about the future of the game, I'm not talking about CIG, I'm not talking about corporate products or anything like that, I'm talking about misleading other gamers. That's not right. Anyway. Whew. Right, we're going to catch up with the comments now, because we're going. So yeah. Can, I'm not going to go with that one, mate. It's not classic CIG. It's people reading what they want to read. Right? It doesn't say discounts, it doesn't say anything like that. It's just, in fact, I don't think it even says ship sale. Right? It just says sorry, I'm just going to go back to it now and get the exact wording. Yeah. 2024 was a huge year in the VAS, I won't bother putting up on the screen, which culminated the opening of the jump gates in the distant and lawless system of Pyro. To make sure you're ready to take on the bloodthirsty gangs of merciless outlaws, every ship and ground vehicle last year is available again for a limited time. Check out the categories below and don't miss your chance to pick up the one that got away in 2024. I do not agree that that's a lack of English at all. That is people going, oh, this is a ship sale, then using the word ship sale repeatedly, and then going, well, CIG must have said it because I've been saying it for... This is 100% what they do, right? And it's easy to do. It's an easy mistake to make, but that's why I always recommend kind of going back to this stuff. So yeah. Yeah, again, I'm sorry, I'm skipping through the comments because I don't want to read things out that you guys 100% have your opinions. That's in the chat. What I don't want to do is read them out because then I might be seen as endorsing them. But yeah, so yeah. Sadly, negative vids get far more clicks because humans love needless drama. 100%. And we all feed that into that to an extent, right? Like my last video, when Pyro Hates You was on the thumbnail. My first trip into Pyro did not go as planned. All that sort of stuff. People are like, ooh, why didn't it go as planned? And that's the hope, is that they then go and click. Maybe not so much for that last video, but, it's going there. You can't reason a person out of a position they didn't reason themselves into in the first place. Yeah. And it's the same thing with kind of discrimination and hatred and all that sort of stuff. I'm not putting what he's saying on the same level, but it's the same premise that they don't reason themselves into it, so you can't reason them out of it. 100%. Yeah. He did say he did say earn in game. Okay, in that case, I apologise. He did say earn in game. People can do what they want to do, but people should make informed decisions. Both are true. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, people. And that extends to people can listen to who they want to listen to and take the advice. But I think in the spirit of, I don't think anyone goes out looking for advice that isn't correct and then follows it blindly. I don't think that that's the case. And not saying that you're saying that, but yes. I bet one of the Squadron 42 packages sold will have an SC add-on, the Platinum Edition or something. Yeah, it'll be really interesting. I wonder whether we'll see something like Theatres of War or whatever return. Because for me, when they announced Theatres of War, my first thought was, I know what that is. That is them creating a platform that will allow them to get people from Star Citizen into Squadron. Sorry, other way around. From Squadron to play bits of Star Citizen in theatres and then want to be in the PU enough that they'll go buy the game or get the add-on. But yes, dual packs, combo packs, I'm sure will be part of it. Hate and anger are far more motivating emotions than peace and happiness. Yes, let the anger flow through you. Hey, Sangrope, good to see you, buddy. Morning, it'll be midnight soon. Most ships can be owned in game, and grinding for ships is fun. On the other hand, there's nothing wrong with supporting games by building a fleet. It's all relative. Okay, 100% mystery, and I tell you what, that is where when I go from why I own a Taurus. Because I bought the Taurus because it was so early in the game's development. We didn't have mining, we didn't have salvage. I think I bought it back in... Well, I bought the game. I finally pledged to the game back in 2017. I'd been following it since 2013, but putting my own money where my mouth is, I was like, okay, it looks great, but there's nothing actually there yet. This is literally vaporware. It's being talked about. There's nothing to show for it. And then I was like, oh, okay, I get it. Like, you know, once it was out, I was like, no, I want to go play this now. I think I did a free fly, and then I was like, yes, must. And I got the Taurus because I was worried. I was like, well, if the game does collapse and development stops and they don't make it, I don't want to have not experienced something like the Constellation and flying it round. Because it was one of the bigger ships at the time, right? That was reasonably priced. That too. And I was like, do you know what? I'll buy it. Because I can afford to throw that money at the game. And if it doesn't make it, so be it. I will have that money for that experience, and if it doesn't get any further, then so what? So exactly that. But there are also other things. You know, I'm not going to. I want a lot more in my fleet than what's in it at the moment. But I want to leave myself stuff to build and earn and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, 100%. There is a bit of a straw man argument there, Blamsmith. You're right. The idea that, well, the game packages don't have discounts and the upgrades and all that sort of stuff. It's like, well, they didn't have to do any of that. They're giving people the opportunity to buy the ships they missed last year. That doesn't mean they have to do that at a discount. And actually, by and large, you know, if they're going to do a second run on stuff and it was discounted first, it won't be discounted the second time, because the benefit to the consumer is you didn't think you were going to be able to get this. Now you can. Ta-da. So yeah. Shady Face is an online armchair expert, and you should listen to everything I say. I shall, sir. I shall. Theatres of War was my, lots of people play this Call of Duty Modern Warfare games, let's try to attract this crowd. Yeah, 100%. There was an element of that as well. Theatres is a means of testing balancing combat gameplay across FPS, ground vehicles, and ships. Yeah, it's interesting that it just kind of disappeared. I don't know whether they've answered the question since about what is going on with Theatres of War, but it just seems to have... my idea to back the game was, Chris Robertson's making this. He made some of my favourite games. Let me throw my money at him. Wiggy. Also, not an invalid place to be, right? You know, I remember... I didn't play the Wing Commander series, mainly because a friend who I had at the time, who was very persistent when he wanted something, was trying to get me to play it, and I kind of dug my heels and went no. And I probably missed out on a part of my childhood because of it. But yeah, there's that. Badger's book title, Taurus to Perseus, The Path I Took in the Verse. Yeah, I Stack, that sounds like a really bad idea. Me writing a book, I'd have to use small words. We answered the call, we held the line, but the line went dead, and now we have to redial and get Theatres of War. Oh my god, no, that's unreasonable. But I like it. We answered the call with it, we held the line. Nice. I see what you did there. Very clever. The Constellation series is iconic. You are not wrong. It's a gorgeous looking ship still in my eyes. I've got the green paint on it, which I really kind of enjoy. But yeah, sorry, I've got in the background. I've got that video going. I've got their sales page up, so I've got constant video. So if you're catching the reflection on the glasses, that's what it is. But I've got to the point now. I've been wearing these all day, so if I take this off and try and read chat, I'm going to be like, yeah. So sorry, getting used to it. Maybe they make me look more intellectual. Maybe not. I'm not going to lie. I'm kind of concerned that there's going to be a reactor video to my react, and all this stuff is going to be taking the piss out. But hey, whatever. I didn't go after the dude. I just went after the argument. I get there are businesses, like any business, they need to earn money. Since being a backer in 2014, my issue with Star Citizen is a constant state of the game is turning people away. Yeah. Yes. With no caveats. Yes, it is. What they are trying to build, I keep referring to it as a universe simulator. The idea that they're talking about planet tech from the idea of soil depth and soil density and soil quality and like these land maps that map precipitation and that. It's a game, for God's sake. Does it need that level of detail? The answer is probably not. However, I think each and every one of us is here because we're excited about some part of the game that is doing realism to that extent. So I wouldn't want to take that away just and go, well, only the bits of realism that apply to me. I don't know. I guess from my point of view, like with the idea of server meshing and stuff, I knew enough about what was going on to know that this was going to be a very slow. I mean, basically, you can write everything up till about the 2016 point, right? Because they massively revisited it and went, we're going to have to throw the engine out. And if you look at the stuff pre-2016, it is rough. Like, just the direction they were going was very different. So, yeah, it's a tough question. They've got a lot of time to go, and I think the one thing I will say about stability and everything else is, to an extent, that needs to come in, but the problem is they know that they're going to do things that will break that, right? When you still don't have all your major systems in, things like balance and stability, you can do as much as you can, but you know down the road that you're going to break it, and I think we've kind of seen that with, parts of the game up until now, is that all the work they were doing on the servers to keep them stable, now that we're on a server mesh, it needs to work in a different way. To an extent, that work is now was completely redundant because they knew they were going to replace it. However, there was also the trade-off that they had to do that to keep people playing and keep people interested at the time. So it's, but there is no, whichever way you go on that, there's no denying that would have taken time. And that if they didn't do that, they would have got to where they're going faster. The question is, would they have been able to do that before the money ran out? Because no one would have played it because it was a crap experience. And I think that's where this kind of drama comes from, is that they are doing what they can to keep people playing at the moment, knowing full well that there are things that they have to do to keep people playing and to keep the experience reasonable now. Again, knowing full well that there are some of that work is redundant and completely wasted because it's going to get replaced. All this work on damage reduction and all that sort of stuff and balancing that out is completely redundant because it is all going to get replaced by armor. Right? Not talking about the shield stuff, talking about hull stuff. It's just going to get replaced. It's going to get completely done over. And then the question is, well, okay, is it worth doing? And the answer to that is unequivocally yes, because what was the one thing that everyone has been saying for years? Stability, stability, stability. And this is where this comes from. They knew that when server meshing came in, it was going to make a mess. It was gonna not work. It was going to have trials and tribulations. And judging by Chris's reaction at the time, they didn't even know if it was going to work 100%. Now that it's there, of course stability's taken a backward step. And I think the question is knowing that stuff is then how do people feel about the game? If they still want to play it and they still want to invest in it, that's fine. If they don't want to play it and they don't want to invest in it, that's fine. But I think, there needs to be a little bit more of being honest. I think the reason CIG maybe can't do that right now is because as a company, that's suicide for any sort of project. Especially now that we are, seeing all these new people come in. There are 100% misleading elements of what CIG does. The adverts on YouTube, these things showing this game as a complete game, showing the massive space battles and stuff. We have kind of big space battles when we have Xenothreat, and we have kind of big space battles when they rock the Idris up and all that. But even that, they were small skirmishes. The Idris ones were small skirmishes. Xenothreat was pretty big and scary, but they show it to be a lot more than it is right now. And I think that's where CIG need to maybe dial back a bit. I know they have the pop-ups and stuff, and I regularly say about the pop-ups, but we also know that gamers don't read. So most of where gamers get their information from is from content creators, is from videos, is from streams. And we know this because otherwise, if every gamer was happy to read, no disrespect to the guy, but channels like Board Gamer, where what he does is, on a lot of it, he just reads out the updates and then gives his thoughts afterwards. You wouldn't have to, because everyone would have read it, right? So that. A lot of people seem to want all the simulation stuff stripped recently, and they're slowly getting their way. I hope they don't, but I can understand that. Wiggy1 says, Star Citizen has nothing I've spent on my Warhammer, has nothing on what I've spent on my Warhammer collection since 1988, and most of that is collecting dust. I agree. My Carnifex agrees with you. Okay. He is also collecting dust because I've just taken him off the top shelf. See? Dust. But yes. Carnifex agrees 100%. The Carnifex of truth. So yes. This is a really big step in the development. It is. A lot of people want... sorry, we've said that one. The issue is if nobody invests in the future of SE, the vision will fail. 100%. It is a live product. From the point of view of that it now needs to be able to sustain itself and pay. What we can hope is that 2025, we have another reasonable year, not too far off of what was last year or the year before. And then 2026, Squadron 42 sales creates an absolutely massive bump. And then all we've got to hope is that CIG are frugal with that money, don't spend too much of it, and allow that to roll over to following years, to take the pressure off of the ship sales and all that sort of stuff, or simply just open all their sales to everyone the whole time. That's the other way to do it. So yeah. It's a unique project with unique requirements, says Shadow Girl, and needs upon the development that people often skip over in their attempt to compare this game with others. 100%. Yeah. Again, partly I agree, says Can, but at a certain point you need to have something representative of the final product. Otherwise, you're misleading people as to what your product is you're selling. Yeah, and this is again going back to what I mean about the balance of doing things to keep it viable now versus in the future, knowing full well that what you're investing in terms of time and resource right now is effectively dead time. And I think that's my main concern with everyone pushing on stability. I too, of course, would like stability. My issue is that how much stability do we want, and how much further is that going to push the actual product down the road? And I don't know is the answer to that. I did invest the money in 12 years on another cookie cutter. No, why is that? No, cookie cutter Sorry, Blamsmith, I murdered your statement. Should we try that again? I didn't invest the money in 12 years on another cookie-cutter MMO. I agree with you 100%, and hopefully now I've got that out. Yeah, I didn't either. We've been told it's been coming for 2 years, though how much longer do we wait for armor and balance? Until it's done. Until it's done. That. It has to retain the depth for it all to be worth it. 100% Blamsmith. Yeah. Universe wide and puddle deep is not what I'm looking for. So yeah. I don't expect the game to stop being worked on for at least that long, the 10 years, 15 years. I'll still be here in 25 years when SC finally launches, 100%. We spoke about this a couple streams ago, I think the one before Christmas. 2030. It's not coming before 2030 at the very earliest, and even then I don't think. It's just not. A game to play once I retire. I'm in a nursing home. That's horrible. Why would you inflict that on nurses? Don't you dare. Some of the things CRG wants to put in are things that can wait until after 1.0. It doesn't need to be in before that. Yeah, 100%. Agreed. What do you think feeds the funding to the project? Some would say ship sales, others would say being able to fly those ships around and use them is the motivating factor. Yeah, I mean, like I don't think that's an either or, right? There are clearly some people out there who have, and there's a couple in our Discord, who have a ridiculous number of ships. And they're obviously doing it because they don't ever want to have to handle, or it seems like they're doing it because they don't have to handle getting their own ships. Maybe I can phrase that a different way. They are clearly not bothered about the fact that having so many ships means there's going to be very few for them to earn in game. That's a better way of putting it, right? That clearly isn't a factor for them because of the number of ships they own. There are also people for whom, buy it because they want to use it now, and I think I'm certainly one of those. I think the only concept ship I've ever bought. That's not a correct statement. The only concept ship I've ever owned is the Perseus, and as we've alluded to before, I didn't buy it. Right? I don't think I have anyone else. I don't think I have any other ships that aren't in my thingy that aren't released. I've got CCUs to some, but each of those chains are ships that I have at the moment. So I mean, I guess that's kind of that, right? I've got CCUs up to the Vulcan, the Apollo, even as far as I had one up to the Reclaimer. Don't need it anymore. Thanks, boys. But yeah, so that's going somewhere else. Don't quite know where yet. So yeah. Badges can't stream sober. It leads to words being hard. Yes, that's it. I'm not drinking this evening. I should have been. I even got a bottle of wine downstairs, but I want it in the mood because of the cold and stuff. I want to be able to taste it when I eat it, right? I almost internally did a that's what she said. But yeah, I'll do it external instead. I'm sorry. Okay. So yeah, I think that's that. I think both mystery and is a short answer. And that was a slightly longer answer beforehand. So, surprise. CRG should pivot into selling life insurance for backers. Oh my god, that's going to be it, isn't it? The next thing they'll sell is like the transfer coupon to another human being that's like 10% of the value of your account or some nonsense. Oh god. CRG is building the plane whilst flying it. They are. They 100% are. That's it. Boxster, Red Boxster. I haven't said evening. I've read out a couple of your comments out, Boxster, but welcome. Thank you for joining. While everyone's opinion on Lumberyard and opting for such a solution will leave SC tied to a Java Minecraft-like code base, which cannot utilize the tech of the future. I think any game has got to pin their colors to a mast, right? And bearing in mind, they made the decision for Lumberyard, back in 2015, 2016? They decided to go down that route. I think if you look what they're doing with the engine now, it ceased to be Lumberyard some time ago. It is now Star Engine. And yes, it's going to be tied to certain elements of code, but if you look at how they're working on it, I don't know what's happening. There might be specific, like, graphic elements and stuff like that, but the server meshing tech for me is the key underlier, and I think that's that. So I don't personally see it as much of a problem. But then again, I don't know much about game engines, so I'm just taking it's a layman's guess. So yeah, Jodomo says, I don't have enough. Jodomo, you do. Stop it. Stop it. You calling out and attacking certain community members? Absolutely not attacking them, not whatsoever. Calling them out 100%. They got that many ships in their fleet. They get called out. But I've not named them, so it's fine. You know who you are. So yeah. So yeah, that's fair, and why I asked. I think different people are able to delay that reward. Other people expect to be able to be instantly rewarded. Yeah, 100%, and both are equally valid. And this is something I keep coming back to with Star Citizen. Yes, there are reasons it's taking its time, and I think those reasons are valid. Yes, there are reasons that we as gamers are pissed off, and those too are valid, and they can exist in the same space. You can go, look, I understand why, but it doesn't stop me from being pissed off. It doesn't stop me from being annoyed that the missions aren't working, that, I've lost rep because stuff isn't happening, that some bug has killed me, that I can't get through the jump gate, whatever it is. Those things can be annoying at the same time as going, well, yeah, I understand why they're happening. Doesn't change my experience. So yeah, I think it's both, right? They've ripped out many things in the Lumberyard code over time, says Shadowguard, and rebuilt it. The big thing was actually a 64-bit environment for the size of all spaces. Yeah, I mean, Star Engine is going to be its own thing, and they're obviously massively invested in sorting that out. Wiggy says, I only have 20 ships. Stop it. What do you mean only? Think they need to buy another ship to get over being called out like that for the emotional trauma. 100%. If that's what they'd like to do, they are welcome to it. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. One of the things that I note that we haven't seen yet, that I'm kind of waiting for, is we haven't seen the financials for 2023 yet. Because the way they work, they release calendar year financials and it's released in January. The last one was released on January 2nd. We're obviously a little bit past that now in 2024. Haven't seen it yet, but if there's anything interesting in it, I might do a video and we'll have a look at, because everyone keeps talking about doom and gloom about the stuff. But yeah. Jodomo says, I may have to get a Heartseeker just to cope. Stop it. Stop it, Jodomo. You're a bad man, all right? But yeah. So yeah, that'll be something else that we'll look at, I think, and see how that's playing. Stunner says, it's a bit strange to me that any ship sold and not finished prior to the announcement of 1.0 Citizen could possibly not be part of 1.0. I agree with you 100%. I think, again, one of the things that maybe we'll have a look at this, maybe I'll have a look at the wording, but what I took away from 1.0 was that this is a phase shift in how they release stuff. And I don't know whether they said they'd actually considered it to be launched at that point or not, but they'll be treating it as launched. I'll have to watch the wording back. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you 100%. The idea that there are going to be ships past 1.0 that we already know about and some people already own is kind of heartbreaking, to be honest. I feel very rough about it. If CIG released a ship called the Wallet Seeker, I'd be honest, I'd probably buy it. Yeah, I mean, CIG are releasing a new keyboard with a credit card swipe down the side. I've seen a picture of that. So yeah. So yeah, the Wallet 10,000 keyboard or whatever it is, the Wallet 2042. Yeah. So we'll have a look at that when that comes out. Yes, it is. It is your meme, Shadow Girl. You're entirely correct. So yeah, so we've covered quite a bit today, and obviously we'll see what comes out in the next couple of weeks. Hopefully we'll be back to their content as well, the live stuff. If you haven't already, head over to the channel. There is a video that came out Friday if you haven't already seen it. I don't think the notifications are going out, so if you're missing them, if you didn't see one Friday evening, please feel free to go and just make sure you've got the bell on. But my first trip in Pyro, tried a little bit different and actually managed to get some gameplay captured in a pleasing quality. The good news, the one thing I want to say before anyone goes, this weekend coming on the Friday, I have a brand new fiber connection being plugged into the house. So what I'm really hoping is that it's going to enable me to do some streaming of the game, because the upload download on this current connection is awful. This, although it's a new new development, the area that I'm living in, for ages they've needed to rip the cables out and get fiber in. They've now just done it. So finally it's become worthwhile me changing my broadband provider and getting a fast one, because I just couldn't get a fast one previous. So we're going to have that. I'm going to trial it. If that works, I may even start multi-streaming to Twitch, which will be fun. High-tech Badger. I mean, I don't know quite about high-tech, but something like that. I'm still on copper, says Furious Ninja. I feel you, bud. It's not good. But yes, so massively increased upload download speeds. Hopefully that will help some of the content and to help me get, in through your eyeballs and in through your earballs a lot quicker. So if I'm not around on Friday or Saturday, it's basically because, there's been problems with the installation or whatever else. But I will let you know regardless. 21st Century Badger, says Jim House. Yeah, 100%. High speed, low drag. Mate, unfortunately, I have all the aerodynamics of a post office. So, yeah, the low drag thing, that's not going to happen. But it's been a pleasure speaking with you all. I hope, again, just a final thing, if you know who that YouTuber is, please don't go and attack them. That's not why I did that. I just wanted to refute the points. But it's been a pleasure having you all in. Thank you ever so much for being here. Of course, I love you all muchly. You've been watching Drinkers with Gaming Problems. Thank you very much for stopping by. I'll see you soon.